NASA's mission is to explore the unknown.
There's more that we don't know than we do know. That's just the nature of the universe.
Searching for answers, it launches scientists into space and craft beyond the edge of the solar system.
Taking risks is part of making discoveries.
Space exploration is like lighting a match, and we don't know what lurks in the shadows.
Hey, what is that?
There could be anything out there.
Life on other planets. Mysterious phenomena in deep space. And danger close to home. NASA's missions have uncovered disturbing anomalies.
Okay, we're seeing 3 or 4 objects.
No, there are 3 objects
that continue to perplex our finest scientific minds. These are NASA's Unexplained Files. "230 miles above Earth, an astronaut sees something extraordinary.
It's clearly not a natural phenomenon.
He said, I saw some really weird stuff down there flying past.
At this point in the mission, this is kind of a shock.
You're very aware, hyper-aware when you're doing a spacewalk, because you are in a pretty dangerous situation.
It's Chow's 4th and final trip into orbit.
It's exciting on many levels, and also stressful, too, because you don't want to mess up your last one, right? That's what they all remember you for.
Cosmonaut Salazar Sharapov works alongside Chow. Both men's lives depend on an inch-wide tether that keeps them from drifting off into space.
If tethers become undone, then you're just going to float away from the station, and it's pretty much curtains.
Orbiting Earth at more than 17,000 miles per hour, Chow is completely unprepared for what happens next.
Suddenly I look up and I see these 5 lights, and they seem to fly by.
And he reports, wow, I've just had echelon formation of like 5 lights.
And they're 4 in a line.
But one of them is slightly offset from the others.
My heart just kind of leaps up into my throat, and they kind of go flying by, by the station. And, what are these lights?
Chow immediately calls Mission Control. NASA engineer James Oberg observed the spacewalk.
When you see something strange in space, the possibility always is that it can bite you. Your life might be on the line.
I called to Salajan, my crewmate. I said, Salajan, do you see those lights? Do you see them flying by?
But the Russian is facing away from the lights and sees nothing. Even the space station's onboard cameras miss the action. But the incident does trigger the curiosity of former NASA engineer James Smith. He digs out satellite images from around the time of Chow's encounter.
And sure enough, he finds a picture that shows 4 or 5 lights in a row in the area that Chow had flown over a few hours earlier.
The image confirms Chow's story. So what did he actually see? Smith begins to search through records of satellite paths and even of military Air Force exercises. But he finds nothing. Smith then turns his attention to ground-based activities. In the waters off South America, commercial fishing fleets use huge arrays of lights to fish at night. Smith wonders whether these were the lights seen by Chow.
They catch cuttlefish and other kinds of squid by attracting them to immensely bright lights. They hang out over the water. They are visible from outer space.
And so they were deployed in a line up the coast, and that's why, and it was the rotation of the Earth that made it appear that they were flying.
Chow accepts Smith's theory, But he also doesn't dismiss the possibility of future contact with alien life forms.
I have no doubt there's other life in the universe. What I doubt is I don't think we've found each other yet.
How far into space will mankind travel before encountering alien life? New discoveries suggest extraterrestrials may be closer than we think. Less than 500 million miles from Earth, could creatures be living on an icy world scarred red by mysterious bloody lines?
Habitats on Europa could be the same as habitats we see here on Earth. Small moons seem to be where it's at.
Vehicles released. We got all the verification for that.
1995.
Galileo is on its way to another world. Fly safe.
The Galileo probe explores Jupiter. But the gas giant is not NASA's sole target. Galileo is also investigating the planet's moons, especially the one called Europa. Blood red veins crisscross the moon's icy surface. Some bear an uncanny resemblance to freeways on Earth. Others are chillingly similar to the Martian redweed choking Earth in H.G. Wells' War of the Worlds. Scientists attempting to explain the blood-colored stripes remain unsure.
There's actually a lot that we don't understand about the environment in Europa.
2001. NASA scientist Brad Dalton takes a shot at Europa's red line riddle.
They have this strange reddish tint that looks kind of like rust, but also it looks a lot like some kind of slime. And it occurred to me, certainly we've seen all kinds of forms of life that have that reddish brown pigmentation here on Earth, so why couldn't some microbes out there be providing this coloration?
Dalton measures infrared chemical signatures from Europa's lunar lesions and compares them with samples of life living in geysers at Yellowstone National Park. A positive result would suggest we found life on another world.
Wouldn't you know it, the infrared part, which is what we've been looking at from the Galileo spacecraft, matched up almost perfectly. The features we saw on Europa could be explained by life. It was almost scary how well it matched.
But not everyone agrees with Dalton's analysis.
The fact that the streaks are red means that they've got a particular kind of chemical in them. And the speculation is that it's probably sulfur that's contributing to the redness of those streaks.
To prove Dalton right, NASA must find the building blocks of life in the moon's slimy cracks. They are already looking for the most fundamental: liquid water.
If you find water, that's kind of the first step in saying, well, there's a chance that there could be life here.
Incredibly, NASA's data from 2 decades of observation suggest that a huge water ocean flows beneath the moon's icy crust.
I don't think anyone would have expected to find liquid water on an icy satellite of Jupiter.
That ocean of liquid water is more liquid water than there is on the Earth.
In 2013, more evidence emerges when NASA's Hubble telescope spots water gushing out of Europa's geysers.
That water's been sitting there for 4 billion years. Could it have cooked up some life? Yes, it could have.
The conditions on Europa could never support human life. But NASA's Chris McKay doesn't need to travel far to find creatures that might thrive there. Extremophiles live in some of Earth's most intense environments.
Extremophiles are organisms that live in environments that we humans would not want to live in, that we would find extreme.
Extremophiles can even affect their environment. They turn salt green, and like cracks on Europa, create bloody red scars.
So life on Europa could indeed look like what we see in these places on Earth.
It might be possible for life to exist on Europa's surface, but the moon's oceans are a better place for life to thrive.
Once you're in that ocean, it's dark. Every day, it's just pitch black. No photosynthesis. But on the other hand, there are likely to be what are called deep sea vents. They're just sort of cracks in the bottoms of the ocean where a little bit of heat comes out. And it turns out there are life forms that live off that heat, that chemistry here on Earth, very similar to the kind of life that could exist at the bottom of the oceans of Europa.
There's only a limited amount that we can do by looking. And I think the next step is going to have to be sending somebody to go there, dig down through the crust and go into the water itself.
Coming up, NASA spots a Death Star siphoning off the sun.
Certainly hope it's not a Death Star, otherwise we're in serious trouble.
Uninvited guests crash the Apollo 16 party. And a mysterious dark shape approaches the Space Shuttle Columbia.
I said, hey, take a look at this. We have something right outside the window.